does is catch the football. That is beautiful. That's why I came to West Virginia, man.
Ding dong, the witch is dead in Arizona.
It's a totally energized Heinz Field, the power of the Renegade song.
The backyard brawl, man, against Pitt. Look at that. Oh, there's Ron Wolfley.
Wow! They came after Donovan McNabb, went after him, they played to win the game.
Everybody's going bonkers, even the referees.
Oh, those look like the sticky gloves right there. We talk about 50-50. Right now it's 50-50. Who's going to get it?
Game came with cover zero, man across the board.
Pick up a flag because, hey, and then with the Renegade song, even flags don't count.
He's going to get an Italian army behind him right there, just like Franco Harris.
My goodness, that is pure guts.
Give me a pepperoni roll, man.
No matter what it is you need, you'll find it at your local Par-Mar store. From gas to groceries, snacks, and everything else you always seem to run out of, Par-Mar Stores has it. Need more savings? Download the Par-Mar app and sign up for the Par-Mar Rewards Card. You won't only see our stores in your neighborhoods, you'll see us in your neighborhoods too. We are proud to be in your town and proud to be a part of the community. Come see us at Par-Mar Stores, and remember, if there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon.
Is that shoparsongrange.com, because that's great. It's a friend of West Virginia. It's a friend of ours. So we love him. We thank him. And that's Arson Grange Company. Merry Christmas to you, Johnny.
Yes. Is all that written on that hat? Because I know your head, you got a 5 head, so it's big enough you could write all that on it.
You know what? It's big enough to even make it fit on your head. And that's large.
And you got a 6 head.
Hello, and welcome to the Three Wolves of Football, the boys from Orchard Park, the outsiders. I'm the Wolfman, Dale Wolfley, and I'm here with my brothers Craig, Derry, who's the eldest. Yep, how are you? Doing good tonight?
Doing good, brother. Doing good.
Beautiful. And, of course, middle brother, Roddy Paul, Pony Boy. Always ready out there in Phoenix. I just think it's because you're a little bit more awake than us two. We're usually a little bit more tired here because it's later in the day, but you're always fired up like the way you've been all your life. Speaking of, we've got to talk about shopping for Christmas real quick. I just had a question because I really don't know this. Derry, who does the shopping in your family? Obviously Faith, but do you actually get out there and spend some time picking out presents?
No, I don't. I mean, it's like terrible. You know what I mean? You got kids. I got kids at home here. So the good lady Faith takes care of all that, because during the football season, I'm in lockdown mode. You're just going at it one after another, and it just puts you in a situation where it's every day is like I'm putting out fires. That's what I do. I'm a walking dumpster fire.
You're putting them out or starting them? I don't know.
Well, sometimes that's yet to be determined.
Very good. And Pony Boy, let me guess. You're going to use the same excuse as football.
You know exactly what I'm talking. Yes, you know exactly what the answer is right now. Are you kidding me? I'm not walking around and shopping. If you actually see me at a mall, if you actually see me walking around and shopping, that can only mean one thing and one thing only, and that is I am shopping for the Warrior Queen. Okay, and you know what? After being married for 22 years to the beautiful Miss Stephanie, can I just tell you right now that it's one of the most dreaded times of the year. It's when I'm out there trying to shop for stuff. Honestly, it gets tougher and tougher every year to pick that one special thing for her that she's gonna love, right? Because she's one of these women that she's not into jewelry, she's not into clothes, right? She's not into a lot of this stuff, and because of it, I don't know what to get her. You know what I mean? I really don't. She's got everything.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. She's got a good sense of humor because she married you. So
Yeah, you got that right.
Okay. Well, listen, brothers. Unfortunately, this week, a couple days ago, something tough did happen, and that was the passing of head coach Mike Leach. You know, the inner Pirate head coach, the off the wall, outstanding, a guy who made history in the game. And Pony Boy, is there anything you can say that reminds you of that? Because I know Kliff Kingsbury comes from his coaching tree.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, Kliff Kingsbury credits Mike Leach for everything that Kliff has been able to do offensively. And whether or not you think he's a good head coach or not, the one thing that most people will tell you without batting an eyeball is that Kliff Kingsbury is a genius when it comes to offensive football. I believe he's incredibly smart. The guy's incredibly smart, and he's humble, and that's why I love Kliff. And oddly enough, believe it or not, Mike Leach also had a modicum of humility about himself, and a lot of people don't truly understand that. Yes, he was incredibly smart. Yes, he had a lot of bravado. Yes, he knew how to seize the moment, no doubt about it. But I'll never forget talking to Coach Leach, myself and Doug Franz with the Doug and Wolf Show. You guys know that we actually had a relationship with the guy, built a relationship with Coach Leach, brought him on a number of years in a row consecutively, and had some serious conversations with him. And I enjoyed it so much. I really did. Yes, the bravado was there. Yes, he says some of the most off-the-wall things you could possibly imagine. But if you visit the guy, he had some humility about him. I'll never forget saying to him, how do you think the air raid, when they hired Kliff Kingsbury, when the Cardinals hired him, we asked Mike Leach, we had him on soon after he was hired, and we asked him how he thought the air raid would go in the NFL. And Mike Leach looked up and he thought for a minute, and he said, I really don't know, but I can tell you, I'm going to be in the front row watching it. So it wasn't like he was dogmatic about it, and I really appreciated that about him.
Absolutely. No, that's a fantastic observation.
You know something? Guys, the one thing you got to remember is these head coaches, the tremendous strain they're under, at all levels, and you both have had coaching experience in your background, and I know Mike Tomlin, I remember one time, somebody asked him about, health and this and that, and he says, I just tell my wife, keep that insurance policy paid up, I mean, these guys, they put in huge hours, man. And, it's a situation where it's a tough business, and you take a lot of that stress home with you and everything else. And, I don't know. I know I'm not cut out for head coaching material. That's for sure.
Well, that's an interesting point. And let me tell you something, Pony, you know a little bit about this, but when you're the head coach of a junior college team, you were talking about fires, or put out fires every day. There's a lot of fires, a lot of stress at junior college. Straight up, and there's no doubt about it. There is, and the one story that I can remember, Dana Holgerson told me was there's a kid that Mike Leach had that was just not good enough to play at that level of quarterback. And he said to this kid, he goes, hey, listen, you know what? I like you a lot. You're not going to play for me ever. And he said, ever. And he says, but I want you to come back as a student assistant and help me out. And the kid got mad and left and thought about it, came back the next day or two. And he said, I'll take that job. You know who that guy was? Lincoln Riley.
Wow.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Lincoln Riley, young offensive coach. He's another Kliff Kingsbury, and he's doing some great things, and we all know what his pedigree is. So again, Mike Leach, I must say I have a couple other stories about him, but we don't have the time here for it. But I do respect him, and I'm not entirely that way with him as my philosophies, but there's some things I certainly would adapt, as he did change the game of football.
And condolences to his family. I mean,
yes,
it's a loss in the coaching family tree. There's just, somebody's hurting tonight, and that's a shame.
Actually, a lot of people. All right. So we are going to move on, and this is going to move on to something that is, should I do it as a mulligan? And it's for me. I'm just going to say it right out. It should be, I'm going to say this. I'm going to stand by this because actually the family brought this up. And, this is quite a few years ago when I was on the Mountaineer Game Day show, and I would come out with a bit or something. But I think WVU and the time that it's having right now could use a little more of WolfMan. Jack.
Hey, y'all. I'm Wolfman's cousin, Jack. Yeah, that's right. Wolfman Jack. Can you dig it? The old Silver Fox and those Kansas State Wildcats coming to town. You got to go help. You got to take them, and you got to take more than their 9 lives. This is Big 12 home opener. You know what I'm saying. Again, let me tell you something. I'm a wolf man, kind of a dog lover. I don't like those cats.
I will do anything for a laugh.
Okay. Wait a minute. First of all, how long did that take you to actually dress up like that? That's number one.
Not long. It was pretty much smeared.
Okay. It was just smeared on right there. How much did it take you to get the stuff off you?
A little bit longer.
Yeah, right. I can only imagine. And number 3, understand this. Anybody who's watching right now, I don't care where you are, anybody who's watching this right now, you're consuming this, just understand that our grandfather was a violinist in vaudeville. Just so you know. So the vaudeville gene has been passed down in the Wolfley family.
Right.
Derry, you got anything to say about that?
I'm speechless. Just speechless on that one.
Well, you know what? I've been busted on you guys, so I wanted equal opportunity and to show you good faith. But I tell you.
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of Jesse the Body Ventura. There you go. There's a comparison.
There's a comparison. Just remember, it's Wolfman Jack, though.
Yeah,
cousin
I knew Jesse. He was the color commentator up for the Vikings when I was with the Vikings.
Wow.
You did a pretty good impression of Jesse the Body Ventura.
Yeah, it was pretty much anybody in wrestling. I was trying to go there.
I know.
The wrestling. Very good. Okay, so we're going to move on. Now, this is not going to make you happy. It certainly did not make me. And, honestly, when it comes to analytics, I'm not sure how this works out. But what you see here is the metrics of analytics and ESPN saying that TJ Watt and Minka Fitzpatrick are overrated. How's that for analytics?
I think it's kind of like my math skills. I flunked math twice, I think their analytics are flunking. Look, there's no way in the world that you could possibly say that those guys, are overrated. TJ Watt is suffering from the injury that he's had at the beginning of the year. He had a knee, he got operated on, he had his pec that he tore. But Mink has still been playing some great football and has been playing great football. And I'm sorry, I just totally disagree. There's those metrics and analytics. They're kind of funny. It's kind of like who was the president said, there's lies, there's dang lies, and then there's statistics. And I can't conceive of how you could possibly, in any way, shape, or form, say that those two are overrated.
Yeah, it's funny. I agree with you 100%. The analytics and the numbers today, it's so dangerous. It really is. And when I say that, I'm talking about within the context, of course, of playing the game of football. So I don't want to make it sound like it's life or death in any way, shape, or form. But the fact that you've got a lot of head coaches and a lot of general managers, not all by any stretch of the imagination, but a lot of them who rely heavily on those analytics to make decisions in football games, to make decisions in who they hire as well. I think you really have got to be careful on that because there's never going to be a substitute, especially in a National Football League game. There's never going to be a substitute for reading the room if you know what I mean.
Right.
Like, should I really go for this 4th and half a yard? Should I go for it on our own 30-yard line when we're up by 3 points or down by 3 points and it's still early in the game? Should I really go for it right now? Momentum is a real thing. You've got to be able to read the room and not just the number, and where the number may happen in a game is all the difference in the world to me.
You know, the thing that the most successful coaches, in my most humble opinion, are the ones that they will do the analytics to a degree, but they still coach with their gut instinct. Now, man, you cannot dissuade them. You know, Chuck Noll was one of those guys that if he believed in what he was about to do or the call or anything like that, you couldn't dissuade him. Even to the point when in 1980, when we were playing the Browns at Three Rivers Stadium, and we had the ball on the 2-yard line, we ran sprint right pick 3 times in a row. 3 times in a row. And the Browns all knew it was coming. Everybody in the stands knew it was coming. Bradshaw, after the second time, went to the sidelines on a timeout to go to talk to Chuck to try to talk him out of running it 3 times in a row. And, of course, sprint right pick is, you know, they had Swan and Stallworth doing a little sort of, you know, a little NASCAR rubbing out there, bumping and rubbing. But he believed in that so much. And the third time, we scored the touchdown and we won the game simply because you couldn't dissuade Chuck. And everybody knew it was coming. The Browns were screaming from their side of the ball, it's sprint right pick again. But Chuck's whole thing was, you may know it's coming, but can you stop us?
I think of this, and you rely on analytics, it takes your stones away as your head coach. It really does. You rely on others. You rely on the quotient right there to figure it out for you, when really as a head coach, it's your decision.
Right.
I remember when I'm saying, listen, it's my decision as a head coach at Fetus College, a junior college. And the one thing I'm going to say about this to anyone who's ever becomes a head coach, and I told Anthony Beck this a couple of weeks ago, just remember this one thing. Everybody wants to tell you what you should do. Everybody says, let's throw the ball here. Let's run the ball here. Let's tackle. Let's go zone on defense. Let's blitz on defense. Everybody's got to come at you. But remember this. There's only a won and loss record for one person, and that's the head coach. And you better make your own decision, because that's on your record. That's on your name as the head coach. The OC, no, sorry. Defensive coordinator, any of the coaches, players, it doesn't matter. It only goes on the head coach's name. So you better make your decisions, because that's what you want to do.
That's well said, Soda Pop.
You know, I really believe that. But now let's go ahead and move on to something that's more recent times, and that is the NIL. And regardless of how you feel about it, it is here to stay. But what extreme is it going to go to? And right here, you're going to see the high school player, Jurian Dickey. He's a 5-star wide receiver. He's going to either choose Tennessee, Oregon, or Penn State based on the sales of that fan base's NIL trading cards of him. So if Oregon buys more cards, he's going to go to Oregon, or Penn State, or Tennessee. Where have we gone? I mean, this has got to be a good kid. It's just that he's trying to get money opportunities. I understand. But why are we allowing this to happen to one of the greatest games of college ball? There's the NFL, but college football is still passionately loved by millions. And where's it going?
You know, I look at it, Soda Pop, and I don't know where it's going. I think the NIL is the ruination of college football. I do. There's no governing body either that really is monitoring what it's doing to kids. That's what drives me crazy. How many kids might get a pile of money dumped in their lap, and, I don't know, a pile of money plus true freedom in college for maybe the first time in your life? Could anything go badly there? Do you see any possibility of something bad actually happening to a kid? I see a lot of danger involved in that. That's one of my concerns. But more than anything else, guys, I have to tell you that the elitism drives me nuts. I'm just going to say it. It's an elite mentality to sit there and say, you getting a scholarship, room, books, board, you getting your tuition paid for, none of it matters. There's no value that is there. Guys, we've talked about this a little bit once again before, and as sons of a truck driver, that college scholarship meant so much to us. It's an elite mentality that says that isn't enough. That isn't enough that you're giving a kid a free education, that you're paying for his books, his tuition, his room, his board. You're paying for it all, even a stipend, which I am all for. Give the kids some spending money, right? Give them a couple of grand every semester to go ahead and actually have some cash in his pocket. We never had that luxury. That much I do know. So, it's awful to me that this elite mentality has taken over college football. And can I just say about this kid right here, what he's doing based on the context and the roles, it's sheer brilliance. I can't believe anybody hasn't thought of that already.
Yeah, I think it's coming. And Derry, let me ask you this. What about, the kids are saying, well, the schools are all making millions and millions and millions off our name, and we're not getting our piece. What's your response to that?
My whole thing is I agree with Ronnie, the stipend. Look, some of this stuff is getting so out of control. When you start to have press conferences to announce where you're going to school in high school, you got agents now that are contacting high school kids because, this is all part of the process of, marketing yourself and everything. These kids, you want to talk about having a sense of entitlement? You're running rampant and giving a lot of ammo to a lot of young people, being able to do things that they normally, you might not be able to do. You might not go out there and buy a nice car or something like that, and have some issues with it. Like Ronnie was saying, you got all this money coming in, and you're in college. And I know how stupid I got at times in college. All right, anybody here, didn't? Okay. Yeah. All right. All three of us can say, yeah, we all got stupid. Well, it still happens today is what I'm saying. So the fact of the matter is I disagree with all this. I think they could have come up with a stipend. I think they could do something like West Point does, where they put aside money each year that you're there. And you, at the end, when you graduate, you have access to that money,
Yeah.
To me, there's ways to go about this in a much healthier way than marketing yourself like a professional. And to me, that kid, that's a brilliant move. But again, it's just another slippery step on the slope of the apocalypse of college football.
And let me just say this. When you think about that, you're going to, with the way the rookie salary cap is, there'd be some guys that won't stay another year or two in college because you're making more money in college than the rookie salary cap. There's truth behind that.
That's true too.
There's some guys that are making millions. And how's that offensive lineman that's, going ahead and he's making 10 grand for the year, and this guy's making millions, and like, oh, I don't know. I'm taking the abuse protecting this guy. It's somewhere. It's got to change. Someone's got to come in. Some organization, whether it be the government, I don't know. Something's got to just regulate it. Regulate.
Yeah, unfortunately, Soda Pop, to that point right there, I think something tragic is truly going to have to happen for there to be any eyes that would be opened on that. It was a horrible idea to begin with, to me, and they got to do something about it.
All right.
When it's really going to get their attention is when the IRS is looking for their handout.
No, they better make sure they got some good.
You got to pay taxes,
Yeah. And trust me, they're all about it. But we're going to move ahead because we can talk about that all night, and we probably will be talking about it again at some time. I will say this. This is going to bring a smile to you, Derry, and to you, Pony Boy, the old fullback trap.
Ooh.
This is Navy here against Army, but watch the pulling right to the fullback. Wow, look at this. It's an actual trap, and the fullback hits the hole. No shotgun, no delay. fast-hitting option. It's pow, pow, pow. And that's what it is. And if you could go ahead and put that back in the game today, I'm not sure defenders, and I'm talking about the DCs, especially the young ones, would know how to defend it. Derry.
You know what I love about that's the basic essence of the Chuck Knoll trapping system. That's the two trap. I've run that so many times in so many stadiums across the country. You know, and you're hitting cars dressed as people out there. You know what I mean? That's what you T-bone them. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things that it's a teeth rattler. But the fact is, the guy that ran it the best that I've ever seen was a guy I was with just last night. We were doing a show out at the Market District, a store with Pat Freirmuth, who's a tight end for the Steelers. But Franco Harris, the legendary Franco Harris, came and sat in, and nobody ran a two-trap like he ran a two-trap. He was absolutely sensational. He'd hit that just a flying like that kid did. And I got to tell you something. There was great joy in running that trap, because it was a lot of fun springing Franco.
Yeah, and for me, can I also say, too, it felt so good to actually see a fullback in the I formation in a three-point stance. That is 10-11 trap to me.
Yeah,
10-11 trap. Don Nalen and the West by God Virginia Mountaineers. That's what we ran. We ran a lot of 10 and 11 trap right there. 10, of course, to the right, 11 to the left. It brings back memories. And I think you're right, Soda Pop. If they brought that back specifically for a game, just a game or two, man, you would shock people. They wouldn't know how to defend it, and you'd probably gain an awful lot of yards on that play.
Even if you think about how defensive coordinators, I told you about Oklahoma 119th in the country against the run, but top 10 in the tackles for losses, right? But because they're doing all these stunts that you would see in the passing game, but because they can't cover all the gaps when they're moving. But even if they were to do that, you teach your offensive linemen that if they're going down inside, you take them with you, and then you just kick out the next level or to the backer. I mean, it's just that simple in today's game. You would just say, just continue your path until you hit someone inside out. And that trap would be there. They don't know. I mean, everything's from the gun, man. And either they go under center, they're usually going quarterback sneak, I guess.
Or tackle zone.
Yeah, tackle zone. But, I mean, it would just be so awesome for someone. I think Michigan, it kind of does that a little bit. But Navy, obviously, right there. So that's a little bit old school. But I loved it, and I just couldn't wait to talk about it. Tom Bradley on the show for Wolfman's Call this week. And obviously, Craig, with Scrap, he's very old school. And he said there's nothing like an offensive line that moves people. A lot of the zone stuff now. And my one story for the trap, because I ran 10-11 trap a lot too now. And I will say that when I pulled him, I'll never forget this defensive lineman. I looked right in his eyes, and he saw me coming, but I didn't blind something, but I just whacked him and just nailed him on his back. He's like, "Oh, I didn't see it coming." I said, "Yes, you did." Yes, you did. You saw me coming. There's nothing like the trap. And Derry, I watched you run it for a decade. And I watched you run it for at least 4 years at West Virginia. And it's an underrated play that hits so fast. And it's like the dive. Same thing.
I like your story right there. A little stank coming from the youngest Wolfley. I like that.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You saw me. All right. Okay, so let's continue on here. I almost lost my place, but this was really fantastic. Detroit Lions. And you probably know Pennis Sewell. He went in motion, and he got the pass. This is 3rd and 7. You got to watch this, because what I really want to show you is how the broadcasters reacted to it.
Minutes remaining. Goff throws.
Wow.
Pennis Sewell. The right tackle makes the catch.
It is Sewell. Goff to throw. Wants to throw it to Sewell. He caught it. Pennis Sewell with a first down. Oh, yes. The big man dives down to the 31-yard line. Oh, that is beautiful. 10 yards. Pennis Sewell with the grab. First down, Detroit Lions.
Ben Johnson, you are my hero. Yes.
And the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because you guys are in there, and I've been in the booth too as well. But you guys are there every week now, and there's the excitement that they had. There was a joy just to watch that because it was such a great play. Ben Johnson's an OC, man, really. 3rd and 7, 141, you're only up by a touchdown. That's a critical time, and they're throwing to the tackle. I mean, it was going in motion. Just huge amount of confidence in that. But what joy, and Pony Boy, I want to start with you, that you can make calls like that in the booth and bringing it to the fan base.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. It is. It's such an honor to be able to do it. But it's got to be like anything else. It's got to be organic. You know, it is something that many people listen to me and think that I'm putting it on. I'm putting it on. And I should be offended by that they think I'm actually putting it on, but I'm not. They just don't understand how jacked up you can get when you play the game of football. One of the best things about it is when I stick that headset on, I don't look like this anymore. I'm not 60 years old anymore. I put that headset on and I start talking about the blood sport. I start talking about the game that we all love so much. I don't look like this. Suddenly I'm 24 with 8% body fat, and I will bury you, if you know what I mean. And it's the excitement of the game. And right there, you could hear it from the announcers with Pennis Sewell, just seeing the big man actually go in motion and then catch the ball into the flat. It's something unexpected. It's organic. And that's what came through on that call.
That's it. It's the joy of football. You can't do anything. What you do on Sunday would get you in trouble on Monday. I mean, that's the bottom line of it. We celebrate the sport, and we celebrate the men who play this great game because it's an opportunity to enjoy and get rid of all the things that confound you during the week. You know, one of the beautiful things that I've experienced was talking to a steel worker from the 70s here in Pittsburgh. And in the 70s, the steel industry was crashing. People were leaving town. Kids were leaving town, you know. But I remember I was talking to this one steel worker, and the guy said to me, and the guy had a grip of steel, and he was in his 70s, you know. He gripped my hand. He says, you know, he says, I didn't know if I could put food on the table the coming week, but I had my 3 hours of just watching Steelers, and it took me out of the misery of what was going on in my life at that point in time. And that was the bonding of the steel workers with the Pittsburgh Steelers back then. And it's the sheer joy of this great sport. It's a wonderful thing. It's like you talk about the blood sport. Yeah, it is, you know, but it's something that is, you can release, you know, all your aggression and go and just have a ball doing it. And it's,
yeah, you know, I always feel like when I'm in there and I have the opportunity to talk about this game that all three of us love so much and so many millions more do and will in the future. And there's something that's really there. It's a bonding. It's something, there's an excitement to it. I think it just goes back to, you know, really our primal nature, man. And it hits some kind of chord in there. And it's really exciting. But it is an honor. It is an honor to be able to bring that to the fan base. It's something special. Not everybody gets experience to that. Very few do. So I just wanted to make sure. And that, of course, was Dan Miller with the Lions, the play-by-play, and Lomas Brown. And of course,
Lomas is such a cool dude. All right. Well, let me jump in. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump in here, Dale. But the best part is watching a fat guy do something like that. Oh, that's awesome. You know, it's what every hog dreams of. Catching that one TD pass, right? Or you know, you just think, oh, I could be the hero one time, get a first down, get a touchdown, you know? I mean, one time when we're playing, there was a fumble into the end zone, and I stepped on John Colvin, pushed Mike Webster down to get to that ball. I got speared in the back, and dadgummit, Randy Grossman jumped off sides, and they brought the touchdown back. I'd have been a hero.
You were this close. You were this close.
I was that close, man.
All right. Well, hey, you know, here's something that's close, and I want you to watch this. I'm not sure who this guy is. I found this video, but the video is so crazy that I had to show it. It's about hustle, and there's only one way to watch it, and that's to watch it and to describe it. You can see here. I think this is Lloyd Summerall of Florida Gators, number 99. But watch him just run and give all out. This is hustle. I mean, he passes the running back with the ball carrier and goes ahead. Now, he may have jumped off sides, or I'm not sure. But don't let that take away from the point of you watching him hustle. And if you want to know where you rate, do you play to the whistle? If you want to know where you rate, like, are you as good as others that hustle? Because a lot of people are a little self-denial about how they go to the whistle. Even when they watch themselves in the film, they kind of have something that's there. That right there shows you that's hustle, Pony Boy.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that, Soda Pop. You know, for a long time, I've always said it. If you watched a player from the snap to the whistle on every play, by the end of the game, you'll be able to make some conclusions about what that person is all about. And I think you could see it right there. But once again, Lawrence Taylor, I think I've told you this story before. Lawrence Taylor used to rush from the left defensive end, right? Well, actually the right defensive end from the defensive side, but over the left tackle. Here comes LT. There was one play, LT went ahead, rushed around the corner, got the edge against Louis Sharp. Neil Lomax threw the ball on a 5 route across the field. Okay, to the far side, the wide side of the field, ran the 5 route to Roy Jetstream Green, threw the ball to him 15-yard out down the field. LT just kept running all the way and made the tackle. I mean, you know, that was when LT was younger. Okay, but yeah, you know what? Great football players make great plays, and that was a great play.
You know, the important thing was always block to the whistle. Now, there were some guys that blocked to the echo of the whistle. And then it became, you know, block to the echo of the whistle the next valley over. You know, that's when it got a little chippy. But that was the essence of what being an offensive lineman is all about, is that effort to the whistle. And for any player out there, it's like you said, watch them snap to whistle, you know, and you'll know what that guy's like, what he's about.
Yep.
Because it all comes out. It's like Mike Tomlin always says, you are what you put on the tape. You know, and that's it.
Excellent. I'll tell you what, I say this as a former coach, and you can not only tell the character of the player and all that, I totally agree with you. And I also believe about my face mask theory, but that's besides the point. But the thing is that when you watch that, if you can say that you hustle like that, and you can admit that or not admit that, that's a good way to say this is how you need to go. It's a great teacher, teacher. And talking about toughness, this next one, Mike White of the Jets took a hit from Milano, the linebacker, and, well, you can watch it. You can see him coming in here, just taking the hit, wide open shoulder. Great hit. I mean, great play by Milano, nothing dirty whatsoever in it. But you got to give kudos to Mike White. Not only did he get pulled out there, he went for x-rays. X-rays are okay. Came back in, just got hammered again physically. After the game, he had to go to the hospital and check for internal injuries. I believe he's okay, thank the Lord. But, you know, honestly, going back to old school, you know, and toughness, you know, Derry, I think that's a great example of a guy that's truly tough and can hold respect in that locker room.
You better believe that dude is respected. I mean, that's the way to stand up and you take – let's face it. You know, I mean, first of all, you sit there and you're telling your offensive line, hey, hello, I could use a little help here. You know, when you have somebody flashing by you, please pick them up. But the fact of the matter was he took those hits and didn't flinch. He delivered the ball. That's a lot – I give him a lot of respect, man. And the fact that he had to go out and then come back in, that's difficult. But you know what? That's the way the game is played.
Are you telling me they did not throw the flag on that? They did not flag that. You know, I'm with you on Milano. I think he's a great football player.
Absolutely.
I absolutely love watching him play. That was a clean hit. I'm being a little facetious because they throw a flag on everything now when the quarterback gets waylaid and gets knocked down hard, something I cannot tolerate in the game. I'm sorry. I know we need to protect our quarterbacks to some degree. I get that, yet it's never a safe game. It's not ever going to be a safe game. And, you know, and I think they protect quarterbacks too much.
Yeah.
Well, they probably would have thrown a flag if it was Tom Brady. Seriously.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Well, there's an hierarchy of players that are a little bit more given a little more gratis, if you understand what I'm saying. And Tom Brady's one of them. I mean, of course, you are 45, and you got to respect your elders. So, I'm sorry, I'm older than he is. So.
Well, there is the GOAT thing as well with Brady.
Right. Oh, there's no question.
He's just the greatest of all time.
Oh, he is. There's no doubt.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on from there because I really don't like him that much. But anyways, I'm going to go with this. And, there's not much to say here. Pony Boy Carr's got a tough blow.
How does it impact the team going forward in the short term, of course, and the long view?
Yeah, I mean, short term is kind of where we're at. We haven't sat down and kind of discussed timetables or where it's going to go from here. But unfortunate, no doubt. We've dealt with some adversity this season, and I thought like the Chargers game, we really had a pretty good rhythm with Kyler. I thought he was feeling comfortable, and unfortunately, we aren't going to be able to finish, building off that momentum, which is something we were both looking forward to.
Before you say anything, I just want to say is I really do think this has been one of those years where the stack of cards has just been dealt, and you got a crappy hand. Honestly, with the cards. Go ahead, Pony Boy.
Yeah, no, in regard to Kyler Murray right here, it's awful that he blew his knee out, of course, and you could see it immediately because Matthew Judon, the Patriots player, was standing over him when he was on the ground. He wasn't standing over him trying to menace him in any way, shape, or form. He actually was the guy who waved towards the Cardinals bench and let them know this guy is in trouble over here, and whenever you see the opposing player, when the guy is still on the ground and just hit the ground, whenever you see the opposing team's player waving your guys onto the field, it's bad. And that's what it was. Can I just say this quickly, though? You guys know me. I am an optimist. I'm a positive person by nature. You don't get that way unless you live on a dead-end street that emptied into a gravel pit. You had to be positive. But I think it's horrible this has happened to Kyler, but I think it could actually be beneficial to him in the long run, where he just looks at everything to do with the game of football and his place in the game of football and how he might actually benefit from this, how he might get better from this, what he needs to do to get better as a quarterback in the National Football League, fall in love maybe with the game all over again. Cinderella, of course, a legendary rock band, hair band. Cinderella said, "Don't know what you got till it's gone." And, Kyler has experienced nothing but success after success after success on the football field. Came in Offensive Rookie of the Year, second year Pro Bowl, third year Pro Bowl. This was the first year he took a step back and did not produce his lowest quarterback rating of his NFL career this year. I'm just wondering if, in fact, this time and space, this separation from the game and this serious injury might actually say, hey, you know what? I'm going to relearn this game all over again. We'll see.
And that is a seriously optimistic approach and makes a lot of sense. And by the way, Cinderella, excellent. Excellent. Oh, Terry, let's go ahead and go to you. And this was a happier moment for
Pat Freirmuth from 10 yards out. He beat Kyle Hamilton.
Oh, the Muth is Luth. That's right. On an in route, crosses the end zone in between a couple of guys over there. I got to tell you, that window was so small, Billy. He just drilled that ball in, or did the Trubisky. He put that baby right on the spot. Man, that was a great throw and a great catch by Mitch Trubisky, throwing it to the Freirmuth. My goodness.
the Muth is Luth.
Pat Freirmuth, I've said it before, I'll say it again. When you talk about the best tight ends in the league, his name's going to pop up in that conversation. The kid is excellent from Penn State, second year. He has really come on, and his blocking has gotten so much better. as he's been here in his second year. His route running, his route running IQ is really amazing. His ability to read the coverages. He reads coverages kind of like a slot receiver does for a quarterback. You read those safeties. You read the windows underneath and zone coverage, those sorts of things. And he's just really terrific at it. And, I get a little excited. Plus, he's a co-host on a show we do on Tuesday nights that, we did the other night.
The picture I showed you. Now, did Franco Harris show up because Pat's also a Penn State alum?
Well, he was actually there earlier doing some business, but I got a feeling that was that Penn State connection that brought him back, and he sat in on it, and it was great because the man's just a legend beyond all legends.
So let me just ask Craig this right here, Derry. What was that like to see Franco? When's the last time you saw Franco Harris? I mean,
well, I've seen him at various functions.
Okay,
the Steeler functions, and I
so
don't know. Did I share the
teammate?
story about when he went over 11,000 yards and they stopped the game?
Go ahead.
All right. Well, at Three Rivers one time, he went over either 11,000 or 12,000 yards. I can't remember which it was, but it was a flow 36. Flow 36, I'm out on search and destroy with Franco right on my back. He's always pushing me. He's always, come on, hey, faster. So we go screaming around the corner, and we end up crashing out of bounds, and he goes over the 11 or 12,000 yards. They stop the game. They give a game ball to him. He goes to the sidelines. He gives it to Tony Parisi, to hold on to. I'm in the huddle. He comes back to the huddle, and I'm in the huddle. I'm like, just sucking wind big time. And he looks at me and he goes, "You fat pig," he says. Yeah, he says, "I ran. What are you so tired from? I ran as far as you did." And I looked at him and I go, "Because I'm a fat pig."
That head now has no tooth.
Yeah, exactly.
And so whenever you're around Franco, is it just the teammate thing takes over again, Craig?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's how it is, guys.
Yeah.
You see one of your teammates that you've shed a little blood, sweat, and tears with, the good times, the bad times, in between times, and then you see each other years down the road, and it's like yesterday. You're like you never left. It's outstanding.
Quickly, I'll say this. I remember being, after you retired, Derry, and of course you had an office in the same building as Franco did, and he sold those fat-free donuts. When we used to go up there and raid him, because he always had samples all over the office, and we would go ahead and eat them. One of my favorite things, because those donuts are good, man. Maybe that's why he was that giant eagle there, doing some business. And that's my brothers is going to bring us again to another conclusion. Episode 14. I'm still thinking of a title for this, but let me ask you this question. This is really deep before we leave. Ed, that question is, who would be victorious in a battle, or would you say who's the baddest dude? Would that be Subo Derry, All-Pro Commando Ponyboy, or Wolfman Jack Sodapop? Who would be the toughest?
That is such a bad visual. Oh my goodness.
Okay, first of all, Sodapop, you do have a knife in your hand. Okay? So that bodes
if
well.
you notice, I'm like in my 40s there, so I'm a little older.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, Craig's sitting there. What is that called again, Craig? The diaper you're wearing?
It's a
Mowashi.
Oh yeah, of course, Milwaukee.
That is one of the greatest. I'm just so glad you got that. We need to tweet that out on social media right there.
Yeah. The thing I do remember about that was taken at the World's Strongest Man, years ago, way years ago. But I'll never forget. You competed
in that twice.
What's that?
You competed in that twice.
No, just World's Strongest Man, then the NFL Strongest Man. Those are the two contests. But I'll say this. We had these big sweatsuits, and you got the Mowashi. When I took my sweatsuit off, Hoopy just about passed out in the stands.
And speaking of, we love you, Hoopy.
Love you.
Love you guys. Thank you so much. Episode 14. Who's the baddest?